Okay, hi everybody, it's Mr. Oaks again. So we're moving on with our lessons on volume. We're going to move on to volume of pyramids and of cones. And I'm putting those two together because their formulas have some similarities. The formula for a pyramid actually has something to do with the formula for a rectangular prism. And the formula for a cone has something to do with the formula for a cylinder. So first what I'm going to start with is the volume of a pyramid. Now, I have here, find the volume of the pyramid below, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So that means that if I need to round, I can, but if I don't, I don't need to. So I have a pyramid. I tried my best to draw it. This pyramid has a height of 12 inches. It has a length of 5 inches and a width of 4 inches. Now, sometimes you will actually see the height kind of drawn in the middle here, depending on the picture. So we're going to go back to our general formula for a shape, for a shape, and that is volume equals the area of the base times the height. Now, the thing is, this is for pretty much a prism such as a rectangular prism, a triangular prism, or a cylinder. Now you're basically going to take the area of the base and multiply it by the height, figuring that the height's going to be the same, that the area is going to stay the same as it goes up. That's not the case in a pyramid. What actually happens is that it kind of takes that volume and divides it by 3. So we're going to change this to divide by 3. Well, when I look at this, the shape of the base is a rectangle. And the area of a rectangle is length times width. So I can rewrite this formula as volume equals length times width times height divided by 3. Okay? And just like we did with all the other volumes, now all we have to do is plug in our information and solve it on the calculator. It's simple. So, I'm going to go, I don't know the volume, so I'm going to put V again. My length is 5. I'm going to put that in parentheses. My width is 4. And my height is 12. And I'm going to multiply all that together and then divide by 3. Now, there's a little trick we can do here. Now, we could just multiply 5 times 4 times 12, find out what that is, and then divide by 3. Or I can look and I can see, are any of the numbers that I have multiplying across the top, can they be divided by 3? 5 can't be divided by 3. 4 can't be divided by 3. But 12, that can be divided by 3 nicely. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross out the 3 on the bottom. Alright? Cross out the 3. And I'm going to cross out the 12 and I'm going to replace it with 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I'm going to replace that with 4. So now what we're doing is 5 times 4 times 4. When we do that, we get 5 times 4 is 20, times 4 is 80. And again, our our unit is inches, and since we have 1, 2, 3 of them, we're going to do cubic inches, inches cubed. And that's how we find the volume of a pyramid. Now, just as we did yesterday, sometimes they're going to give us a problem where they give us the volume and we have to find either the height or the length or the width. We have to find one missing piece. So let's take a look at this problem. Find the length of the base. So we're looking for the base, we're looking for the length of the base of a pyramid with a height of 6 meters. So I'm going to go all the way over here, and I'm going to write that the length, we don't know. The height, h, is 6 meters, a width of 3 meters, so I'm going to write width equals 3 meters, and a volume of 30 cubic meters. Okay? Paper's a little foldy. Alright. So now that I have this information, I know I'm looking for the length, I have the height, I have the width, and I have the volume. I'm going to write down my formula. So I'm going to go over here. Okay, stay down. Volume equals length times width times height divided by 3. Very important that you remember that dividing by 3. I know a lot of students who have done this in the past and they forget to divide. They put just length times width times height and they're done. With a pyramid, you have to divide by 3. So let's take a look at what we got. So we have the volume. The volume is 30. We don't have the length. So I'm going to put a little L. Width is height is 6 of the width. Width is 3, and the height is 6, and we're going to be dividing by 3. Now, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look and I'm going to say, are any of these numbers up here divisible by, excuse me, divisible by 3? I see 6. I see a 3 and I see a 3 here. I'm going to cancel them out. Cross out, cross out. I'm going to rewrite this now. 30 equals 6 times the length. Now, all I have to do is divide by 6 on both sides. That crosses out. And my length is 5, and what was our unit? Meters. 5 meters. Okay? So, right there, that's finding the volume of a pyramid. Okay? Not too bad, just now you have to remember that you have to divide by 3. But, now we also have a cone. Now, like I said, a cone, very similar to the volume of, how you find the volume of a pyramid, but now our base is round. So now we have to think back to that volume equals the area of the base times height divided by 3. And now I have a round base. So now, when I write my volume formula, okay, so I have a circle. What's the area of a circle? Pi r squared. And I'm going to be multiplying by the height. Well, that right there, that's the formula of a cylinder. But this isn't a cylinder, it's a cone. And again, its volume is 1/3 that of a cylinder. So we're going to take this and we're going to divide it by 3. So now, this one, find the volume of the cone, round to the nearest 10th if necessary. Because we have pi involved, it's necessary. Okay? So, we look, and again, I'm going to look over here at my picture. I have a height of 12, height of 12 centimeters. But I look, they didn't give me the radius, they gave me the diameter. I have to remember that the radius is half the diameter. So my radius is going to be 10 divided by 2, or 5. So my radius is going to be 5 centimeters. Now that I have that information, I look, I have my radius, I have my height, I'm going to plug them in. So, volume equals pi, radius is 5, so 5 squared times 12, which is our height. Okay? Oh. Divided by 3. So I'm going to do the 5 squared, but I'm going to kind of put two steps together. I'm going to look, and again, I'm going to say, is there anything on top that I can divide nicely by 3? Not pi. Pi's not nice to begin with. I have to square the 5 first, so I can't really do anything with that. But I got this 12 here. And again, 12 divided by 3, as we said before, it's 4. So I'm going to cross out my 3, cross out my 12, and replace that 12 with a 4. Okay? So, volume equals pi, 5 squared, 5 times 5, 25, times 4. So what we really have here, volume equals 100 pi. Remember, if the question says leave it in terms of pi, we would actually stop here and then put our units centimeters cubed. This tells us to round, so we're going to have to go into our calculator and do 100 times the pi button. And we get, and I'm going to write the long one first, 314.159264. So we get that long thing. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. Here's the tenth, but we have to look at the number right after it, which is the 5. The 5 makes the 1 go up. So our volume to the nearest tenth is 314.2 centimeters cubed. Okay? So that's how we find the volume of a cube. But again, sometimes we're going to get the question where they don't want the volume, they want one of the other dimensions. They either want the radius or they want the height. I could have gone with the easy one. I could have gone with, well, let's just find the height. But it's not always going to be that easy. So I decided this time I was going to take a problem where we have to find the radius. So we have a little bit extra work there. So in this question, a large traffic cone stands 28 inches in height. It has a volume of 732.7 cubic inches. What is the diameter of the base? So not only are we not actually finding the radius, we actually have to double that and find the diameter. Okay? So, excuse me. So, again, we're going to round our answer to the nearest tenth. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to first start off, what do we have? Do we have the height is 28 inches. We don't have the radius. And more importantly, we don't actually have the diameter. What we do have is the volume, which is 732.7 inches cubed. It's kind of foldy. So we're going to start off the same way we always do. we're going to start off by writing the formula. Volume equals pi r squared h divided by 3. Okay? So, let's start plugging in. We know the volume. The volume is 732.7. Pi is pi. We don't know r, so r squared is going to stay that way. And our height is 28. And everything's going to be divided by 3. Now, again, I'm going to start off by saying, is there anything here that I can divide by 3? Again, pi, not a nice number, so it doesn't work. We don't know what r is, so that can't be divided by 3. The only other number is 28, and 28 can't be divided by 3. So in this case, what we're going to do is we want to get rid of the fraction. So we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 3. So I'm going to multiply this side by 3, and I'm going to multiply this side by 3. Okay? When we do that, 732.7 times 3 is 2,198, let me just double check, 0.1. And on the other side, we're just going to be left with 28 pi r squared. We need to get that r squared by itself. So that means we have to divide by 28 pi. So we're going to do that to both sides. 28 pi on this side, 28 pi on that side. These two things cancel out. And now we go to the other side. Gotta grab my paper. I can't see anything. So what we're going to be left with, and I'm going to kind of flip this around, we're going to be left with r squared equals, it's a long one, 24.9884628. My wife will kill me if I draw on the wall. Help. Now what do we have to do? We actually have to take the square root. So what we're going to do is I'm going to draw the square root symbol. It's that thing that sometimes you guys confuse with a division symbol. Alright? So I drew my square root symbol around both things. I'm going to write down r again. And what I need to do, and most calculators have this, especially if you're using like a TI 30X and stuff, what I'm going to do is let's see if I can show you this close up. If you look over the x squared key, you see that there's a square root symbol. So what I have to do is I have to hit second and square root in order to find the square root. Okay, I think I hit the wrong one. Second x squared. Okay, so I tapped into my calculator and I get another nice long number, because this isn't a nice perfect square. I get 4.998846156. I'm not done, because I need the diameter. I don't need the radius. Oh, so much work, Mr. Oaks. Oh, so much work. I know, but sometimes that's what you got to do. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to multiply it by 2. I'm just going to write times 2 down over here. When we do that, our diameter becomes, oh, I had it on the calculator and I missed it. Becomes 4.998846156 times 2 is another long number, 9.9 9, 7, 6, my goodness, 9, 2, 3, 1, 2. These numbers are long. But my answer, round your answer to the nearest tenth. So I look at this. Here's the tenth place. There's a 9 after it. 9 makes 9 go up to 10, carries over. That's going to make the other 9 go up to 10. So my diameter is going to be 10.0 inches. And as one of my friends used to say, that's a long way to go for a cheese sandwich. So, look over this. If you have any questions, feel free to post them on Google Classroom or even on, as a comment on YouTube, and I'll try to answer it. Alright? Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Stop recording. Bye.